Well, we are taking a look outside. A little bit of fresh snow on the ground. It's not much, but it is enough to impact the morning commute. I'll walk you through why that's the case.
We're taking a look at important numbers from the CDC from both Washington and Idaho this morning. I'll tell you how the vaccine distribution plan is rolling out and why one of our states is in the bottom 3 in a very important metric.
Well, last year, a fire ripped through downtown Coeur d'Alene, destroying a handful of businesses. And the investigation into that fire lasted for weeks. This morning on Up with KREM, for the first time, a Coeur d'Alene fire investigator will be joining us live to talk about what they found.
Up with KREM begins now.
6:31 now. Welcome back to Up with KREM on our Monday morning. The Kansas City Chiefs are heading back to the Super Bowl for the second year in a row, and they will face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You may recognize these quarterbacks from last year. Once again, it's Pat Mahomes versus Tom Brady. You can watch that game, by the way, on Sunday, February 7th, right here on KREM 2. Of course, that again coming up here in a few weeks. This morning, though, we're talking about our cold weather and this week's top stories here locally. This morning, we have team coverage across Spokane. This morning, Joshua Robinson is live at the Spokane Arena. That is where a mass COVID-19 vaccination site is set to be up and running this week. But first, let's talk about the snow. Nicole Hernandez will be joining us with a live look at your commute. I know it's a chilly one out there, but first, let's check in with Jeremy Legoo for what we're really facing this morning. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, Jen. Hi, everybody back at home. Good morning. And as I like to say, TGIM. A lot of you are going, nobody says TGIM right now, but we're waking up to a little bit of snow, so allow some extra time, pump the brakes, take it slow. It's that kind of start to the day. It's kind of the impacts of a more substantial snowstorm without the enjoyment of a more substantial snowstorm. We've got snow on the roads around the inland northwest. That's because of the cold weather we saw this past weekend and the cold temperatures that came with some of the snow early this morning. We're in the mid-20s here in Spokane, and we are going to watch those temperatures slowly climb today, but they don't climb above freezing. That means we will see a couple of stray flurries, and they're kind of not really those beautiful flurries. They're more of those tiny little almost sand-like snow flurries. That plays a role into what we are seeing out there on the roads early on this morning. We'll see a couple more flurries throughout the day, but for the most part, expect the accumulation to be done. Tomorrow, it's all about the clouds. Tomorrow night, our next round of snow works its way into the inland northwest. Today, it's cloudy. We might see a couple more snowflakes, but don't expect any more accumulation. Temperatures cool all day. We struggle to get up near freezing later on today. That means what you're seeing out there stays out there. And with more on why this little bit of snow is going to make your morning commute a little bit more rough out there, Nicole Hernandez standing out in some of that snow and some of the cold as well, Nicole.
Yeah, Jeremy, cold and slick roads. That's really what's happening this morning. You can see, like you mentioned, really not all that much snow. You can see here on the bush, just enough to really cause us some trouble this morning. So we're standing here on the side of Division, and you can see just how much snow is staying on the roads this morning. So we are seeing those tiny little flurries on and off throughout this morning. We've seen them so far, but nothing enough to really stick on the roads throughout the morning. But you can see that that's just how cold it is this morning. Is the snow that we got overnight, just that little bit, is still on the roads, still causing problems. Even with all these cars that you can see going over, all that friction, still not enough to melt away this snow. So we really want to give ourselves time this morning to get out, give yourself time to go slow on the roads, leave yourself room between you and other people. Particularly on I-90, you're going to have some visibility problems because the moisture on the roads will kick back at those high speeds. So you're going to want to get ready to use those windshield wipers as well on I-90. And of course, give yourself time to wipe off the snow from your windshields. You can see all of the snow on all these cars passing by here as they parked outside overnight. Live in Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
Nicole, thank you. 6:35 now on our Monday morning. Today, House members will deliver an article of impeachment to the Senate against President Donald Trump. Now, this is the second impeachment for President Trump. He is charged with inciting an insurrection for the Capitol building riot on January 6th. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi appointed impeachment managers who will serve as the prosecution. Meanwhile, all 100 senators will sit as the jury. The trial as of right now is set to begin February 8th. However, Republicans have asked for a delay. And this morning, health experts are working to open a mass COVID-19 vaccination site in Spokane. Washington Governor Jay Inslee's goal is to vaccinate 45,000 people per day. Now, this is spread out across 4 mass vaccination sites across the state. And this morning, Joshua Robinson will be joining us live now with more on the vaccine status, both right now in Washington and Idaho. Good morning.
Hey, Jen, the plan here at the Spokane Arena is to have that site inside while testing can still be done outside in the parking lot for the COVID-19 vaccine process, though. Chaz, health officials are still waiting for one more dose of the vaccine to make its way into the area before that officially can open up on Wednesday. Now, if all goes according to plan, people can start making their appointments to receive doses of the vaccine as early as Wednesday. And of course, keep your eyes on KREM 2. We'll keep you updated if there's any delays in that process. But in the meantime, Idaho and Washington are actually both falling behind other states when it comes to the vaccine distribution process. So this morning, we're taking a look at data from the CDC to see where all of the states stack up compared to the others, specifically where Washington and Idaho compare. Of course, we're going to start looking at how the doses have been administered per state. As of Saturday, Washington ranked 14th out of all 50 states with more than 846,000 doses reportedly distributed to the state. Now, that makes sense when you think about it because that's about where Washington's population already ranks in the country. But it's not just about how many doses we've gotten, it's about how many of those vaccine doses we've administered to people who need them. So as we shift the data here a little bit, now we're going to look at the top 25 states in terms of the percentage of doses that have been administered to patients. Now, some states are doing very well. New Mexico, both Dakotas, and West Virginia has just over 80% of their doses actually administered. But Washington is all the way on the right side there, ranked 25 out of 50, with only 51.6% of all doses actually given out. So plenty of room for improvement there. Looking to Idaho now, it's a very different story. Of course, we're looking at the bottom 25 states now in terms of most vaccines distributed. Idaho does come in 40th out of all 50 states. Again, that makes sense because, again, that's about where Idaho's population ranks in the country. But the percentage of doses that have actually been handed out in Idaho is also in the bottom 25 states, ranking 38th in the country with only 45.6% of their overall vaccine doses administered. That is just shy of 86,000 doses handed out in Idaho. That's compared to more than 436,000 doses already handed out in Washington. Obviously, there is a big difference in the population between both states, so the only way we can really look at this fairly is by leveling out the playing field. And the way that we do that is by looking at these doses now as they've been distributed per 100,000 people. So here's the top 25 states when it comes to how many doses of the vaccine have been distributed by that metric. You might notice Washington and Idaho are not highlighted on this list, and that's because they're both in the bottom 25 states. Washington ranks 38th out of all 50 states in terms of vaccine distribution per 100,000 people. So not great, but Idaho is ranked 48th, better only than Nevada and South Carolina. Now, coming up at 7 o'clock, I'm going to be talking more in depth about the vaccine process here at the Spokane Arena and everything we know about that process this week. Of course, if you're looking for the latest information, all you have to do is text our text line with the word vaccine to 509-448-2000. Let's check in with Dana Marie.
I'm going to take over here, Joshua, but yeah, that gives us a pretty good perspective as where we're at now, and like you mentioned, a lot of room for improvement there.
Yeah.
Joshua, thank you. It is coming up now on 640. Still ahead this morning on Up with KREM, we're learning more about a devastating fire last year in downtown Coeur d'Alene. After the break, fire investigator Craig Etherton will be joining us live, and for the first time, we will learn what caused that fire. Again, that's coming up after the break, only here on Up with KREM.
And we're going to take a look outside, let you know about a little bit of snow that we're waking up to this morning, and talk about the chances of seeing even more of it later on this week.